Good morning, listeners, friends and colleagues. Here we are, we're still in Jeddah and we're at the Saudi Cargo headquarters. And we've got a great guest this morning, very creative young man, and somebody who's going to be making a big impact in the future. His name is Adel Sallam. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You had a little lesson earlier.
I'm getting better.
Getting better, eh? And his position is Marketing and External Communication Director. He's been with the company now for almost 5 years. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on this morning. Really appreciate it, Sallam.
Thank you, Chris, for inviting me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, as we ask everybody, what made you decide to accept the invitation to come on the podcast?
Well, I love the idea. To be honest, overwhelmed. We're having a deep discussion about a new tool of marketing. That's a communication tool. I love it. I've never experienced that within the industry, within the business to business in this part of the world. We're not really heavy about it. So it's a great channel if we open this up.
Yeah, good. And I must admit, after we launched the industry podcast, you were one of the first people I thought of talking about it, because I knew how creative, and I love the way you're always using your magic tablet and ideas and drawings, and you make things go from a concept to reality very, very quickly. And I've got to say, I've been really impressed with it. And I think the podcast vehicle is something that will really, really do well.
Yeah, I think will happen, and it suits the industry as well. I mean, that's the future of this industry and where it's going.
Yeah, and the speed that you can get your messages out, and you can get people's ideas. You can get the leaders to actually show that, you know, what is it behind them, what are they targeting. It's a great way for people to communicate and see how people can communicate.
Well, I will also add some of this. If you're asking me the quality of the topics, we've been through, collecting a couple of informations from everyone in this industry, or at least knows what's going on, and they give just top line hints. But the podcast will give the audience a room to hear a quality topic. They would need details. They wanted to know details about something, and this is only the tool that they can find to give them these details up. Yeah,
no, it's good. Now, as we discussed, the principle of the industry podcast is what we're doing is we're trying to identify, who would become a good guest, and then what we're doing is we're looking to project the person behind the position, so that people actually see and they know a little bit more about the people that are in the industry. So the same thing would happen with an internal company podcast. Another thing that we're doing is we're trying to make our industry more appealing and, if you want, for a better word, sexy, so that youngsters realize it's a great opportunity. And if you come into it with the right mindset, it offers you so many different alternatives and directions and global exposure. You can move abroad, because what you do at one airport or in one warehouse, you do virtually the same, or you should be doing the same, in other airports and warehouses. So it's a great opportunity. So we'll be touching as well on how to develop youngsters, and that's also how the internal podcast can develop.
Sure.
Yes, you
totally
I
on the
need
same
fully
page,
understand.
of course.
Now, what we also did, and I need you to explain a little bit to the people that are listening, we decided to sit down and think to ourselves now, who would be a good host for the podcast within the company? So please explain who and how and why we suggested, or we think they would be the ideal person.
Well, let me start with this. The new transformation happened in this company, allowed us to discover potentials. You will find many talents within the staff itself. The employees they are very talented, but we were only focused about if you're doing your business right, your performance, what's your KPIs, and we were not touching the real talents and what's really inside. How can we use the best, get best out of our staff? And within my team, I have the external communication team, and I can only find out someone whose name comes by nature on top of my mind. And he's an influencer. He's a sports influencer. He speaks. He comments on the make commentary on the football matches in this country, and he has followers. People trust him. He has a good voice, good appearance, and mindset. His mindset as an host is kindly of natural capabilities. And I only find the name of Fahd al-Zahrani. They're one of my, colleagues in my team, and he really adds this fun recipe on fun ingredients to the recipe of the marketing and external communication.
Yep, and I think it was a no-brainer, wasn't it? We both felt it was the right choice.
Yeah.
And having met him, having the sessions that we've had, and
it was hilarious. It was very funny. It went very smooth, and Fahd is doing this by nature.
Yep. And so we're gonna have him on a podcast, because obviously the principle is you understand the concepts. You've come up with some guidelines and some stories. We've explained what we're doing industry wise. So now you've got your host, and we know one thing, and fair play to him. He was honest enough to say that his English is good, but it's not as good as he would like. But he's brave enough and he's committed enough. He's going to get that off pat very, very, very quickly.
I think it's a practice.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. And once he translates how he does it from Arabic into English, he'll be able to communicate there as well. So I think he's going to be an absolute asset to the concept, and he'll be a very, very, very big success.
Correct.
Now, we spoke about teams, and having met your team, everybody has got different skills base. So it's like putting together a soccer team. You've got a right back, a centre forward, a goalkeeper.
Yes.
But you've also got another star, one of the most positive people I've ever met. Do you want to explain?
Yeah. But I just want to explain something about the first part of your question. There was a very nice tool of Gallup by Meet. It's called Clifton Strength Assessment. And I put all my team in that thing. And it started by me. So the first thing comes in my strength assessment report, something called individualization.
Yep.
The individualization, as per the definition of the report, says that I have the talent to identify the quality of my the individuals of the teams that I work for. It helps me easier to build up a task force and to with them make projects and stuff. And by doing this, I was really putting people to do tasks with their natural position. As is exactly like what you have described with the football coaching or strategy gaming thing. But I extended that, and I sent them to do the same assessment, and the reports came back, and was not so far of what I was expecting of everyone yet. And you will find, because of maybe she's the only woman in my team, just she adds a special, very special touch with the whole task force thing. So she's the only arranger in the team. Maybe it comes by her nature. Yeah. She's so positive.
Yep.
It comes with very positive. And she listens more than she talks. She's very confident of herself. However, she looks very humble. And you barely notice that she is in the room. But inside, she is a volcano of potential things that is ready to explode at any minute. And that's Ghadi Al-Mushayekh.
Yeah.
She's talented, and I put her through even before the strength assessment to handle the new brand that's coming up, and she is handling one of the most advanced agencies in the world, and she communicates with them on daily or hourly basis.
Yep.
How can we have the new brand set up? And to have the story behind this brand and the whole brand story for both internals and externals. She's doing this brilliantly.
Yeah, no, I must say it's one of the best examples of a first impression I've ever had. And the sessions we've had with the team, it's been consistent all throughout. And obviously there's other skills with the rest of the team, and we've had a lot of fun with the sessions. So I'm pretty sure as well, Farhad, as he goes through the podcast series, he'll bring each and every one of them into their area of specialization with somebody else or on a particular topic. So the fact that we're just mentioning a few, every single one of them has been an absolute joy to experience, from the young man who loves a trick, to the killer, to the various little nicknames we've given to everybody. It's been a lot of fun. It's been really good.
Yes.
Now, taking the concept further, and with your creativity, the podcast obviously will make a big difference. Now, I know also that we've spoken about understanding the business. Now, what made you, or why do you like this particular side of the business? Because your skills base is flexible. You could go anywhere. So why do you like aviation? Why do you like this particular business?
Well, throughout my career, I handled both business to business and business to consumer products. So, and sometimes I was handling both of them in the same job. Like I was the marketing director of Philips Lighting, and in Philips you have a projects to set a stadium, or a big building, or you have the bulbs to sell in the Carrefour or the retail, any kind of a retail type.
Yep.
So you have both business to business. What I have realized, that the aviation in this part of the world, on the marketing side, is a bit backward, and we can do a lot to bring it life again. You would see the youngest, as you were mentioned in the beginning, the young generation in this country, if you were telling them aviation, they will all love to go and work for Saudia, because their dream is to travel. Put them on the airplane, they fly. They don't know. They don't even think about even serving meals on the plane. This is their aspiration is to travel.
Yep.
But this is the problem is, this is what all they know about the aviation industry.
Yep.
So they don't know that there are ground services involved. There are
Safety,
cargo,
the security,
safety, many aspects. They don't know all about this. Even economy, the fuel, the revenue management. They don't know other elements in this. And I still think that a quality media can give this information, because they don't like to read as we used to make, when we started our career thing.
And it's getting more difficult as we get older now with the glasses. But the good news is, now I know you need glasses as well.
Yeah. But you look at them, and they just want to have the information in a sandwich.
Yeah.
And this sandwich, they need somebody to feed them, for they don't even have a time to sit properly and eat with the fork. No, they want just a fast food kind of information to reach them. A quality information comes with this media is the right thing to open up their eyes about the aspects and the different dimensions in this industry. And this is my message. If I'm considering a motto kind of line, I would say we need to make the young generation recognize everything about the aviation industry and how it's related to the logistics, and what is the logistics importance for this country.
Totally agree. And I think you've really hit the nail on the head there about the speed and how people want things. They're not as patient as before, and this is a very, very effective tool. Now, how best to use it, and what advantages we can also get from it. So one thing that people might not readily realize is that you can use podcasts now to give very specific information. And now that Saudi has got the crisis control, which allows you to ping messaging and to also recover feedback and have a dashboard, you can also use it to verify certain competency, self-assessment competency. So you can actually influence the competency level, so you can support HR, you can support the ground handling business, in allowing them to see how much their teams actually know about specific subject matter. Yes. And I know you're quite keen to show that there's more added values of the podcast just than listening and watching people talk about specific subject matter.
Yeah, well, okay, I cannot add to what you have said in this manner, but I will add another dimension. The dimension of engagement, Chris.
Yep.
That was the missing recipe within our success plan. So we put the plan, we said, if we do this and that, we'll be very successful. But there was a touch that we wanted to have, which is engagement. we want everyone to speak about his role and to say what's his challenges.
Yep.
And we put it in a very constructive way and start build on that and give him a feedback and take the whole platform into this position. We want people to speak about their challenges, speak about their success stories.
Yep.
Local heroes are really missed in the whole communication platform or engagement platform in this thing. And the channel is a very, very strong opportunity to give their local heroes the things that they deserve. They need to be known. They need their efforts to be seen.
Yep. Respected, appreciated.
Of course.
Yep.
And we will make this podcast the platform for this.
100%. And when I was involved with a business, one of the things that I never took my eye off was the conditions that the people have to work in.
Yeah.
And the way they're expected to do it and time again. You know, people really need to give them an awful lot of appreciation. They are the core business.
Yes.
And so the podcast, I know, and we've spoken about it, it isn't just going to be for management. It's going to be identifying local heroes.
Of course.
Giving them the chance to say why they feel that their role is also contributing to the bigger vision, the vision of the company and the vision of the country. And it's a little bit like the John F. Kennedy story when he first visited
I love
NASA.
this one.
And I'll repeat it again. But this, I think, depicts what we should be trying to achieve through these podcasts. Basically, John F. Kennedy attended NASA, and he was shown around. And as usual, whenever anybody big comes to the building, especially headquarters, everybody wants to be seen with them. So they're walking around, and he went into the big meeting room, and there was a guy in the corner cleaning. And then he went into another room, and there was the same guy cleaning. Then he went to the canteen, and there was the same fella cleaning. And at the end of his tour, one of the guys said, is there anything else you'd like to see or anybody you'd like to meet? He said, yeah, I'd like to meet that man over there. And they all looked puzzled, and he walked over and he said, excuse me. He said, sorry to interrupt you. He said, my name's John F. Kennedy. I'm sure you know who I am. And he turned around and he said, of course I do, sir. You're the president of this country. It's my country. And he said, can I ask you, what are you doing? He said, because I've seen you in so many places whilst I've been here in the building. He said, yes, of course. He said, I'm helping to put a man on the moon. And he identified that his role, irrespective what it was part of a much, much bigger vision. Yes. And one of the things that these podcasts can do is let people at every single level appreciate how important they are and how relevant they are to the bigger picture. And I think what you've got to do, and I know what you want to do, is get them into the picture, get them into the frame. Don't let them be in the background all the time and people just talking about bottom line and figures. Whilst important, the people are important and how we do things, and to get people on the ground supporting the people who are actually doing the work.
I can't agree more. I mean, this is what we call the strategy deployed. So you have the strategy, but it's not up to the top level and stays there. But everyone in the organizations knows exactly what's his role to achieve the company target at the end of the day. We'll start by his target and the competences and the KPIs and stuff. If he achieved that, but also his team, then his department, then the company at the end of the day, kind of thing. And what is the company role itself to the vision or to this? So I was asking myself the same question, or every morning over the last maybe 6 months. Do I have my role? Do I identified my role within my department, within my company, and within the country vision? I know that I'm expat, you know that, but I've never felt disconnected from the vision. I knew where is my position in that, and how do I need to build this brand that will, if it come in the right manner and right format, it will really bring foreign investment for this country, and it will help to change the logistics index in the vision. And this is what it's really takes my focus.
Yeah, but that's it. And I agree with you. I mean, I was here for the best part of 5 years. So you're a guest. You're never actually part of the family. But whilst you're there, you have to embrace it and be engaged in it. Otherwise, it makes your time, more of a sentence than an experience.
Of course. And getting the next generation and successor ready to take over this position.
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
what you need
exactly,
to. You need
exactly.
to empower them. You need to let them do mistakes. That's one of the biggest thing that I've seen here wrong, that people fear from doing mistakes sometimes. Everyone wants to be correct and doing the right thing all the time. But if you let them do mistakes, you really build a strong, very, very next strong.
I agree.
Next
And
generation.
also, and also to support the SMS culture, the just culture, people have to, especially in this business, they have to identify when they've made a mistake. Because if you hit a piece of equipment or an aircraft or whatever, my goodness me, the repercussions of not reporting it can be terrible.
Of course.
So people have to feel that they can do that and not hide in things, which again
I agree.
needs more oversight, more supervision, more coaching, more mentoring on the side. Now, talking about mentoring, Adel. Now, so you got into the business, you've had a good career and you've got a great career ahead of you. Can you think of anybody that's influenced you or coached you or mentored you over the period of time that you would then want to do the same for other people?
I started with a very good mentor in my career. And I still remember my first boss, may his soul rest in peace. But he was really a mentor more than a manager's thing. So he never taught me how to make things with this particular project, but he was generally speaks to me about the objectives all the time. And I think I follow the same style of mentoring. And then you will find another GOAT coach in the industry itself. And I was lucky having you. Beside,
I didn't ask for that. But
over the last few years, we were close. You were always supporting with your guidance and stuff. And then you get inspired by people. So I'm still inspired by Steve Jobs, design thinking way. And the design thinking, what really also inspires me, I try to adopt many of the design thinking concepts to look to the process maybe differently. I like all the time to consider re-engineering processes, make it shorter, more efficient. And there are no taboos for me in the industry, in the business.
Yeah.
So people get used to do this for 20 years, and this is the way they've been doing. I have no fear to reconsider. And I think this inspires me all the time. And if one of my team comes and say, I have a new way of doing things, I really admire him. Yeah. And I always feed this talent in him, makes him look things differently. And this is what we do.
Yeah, no, I think, honestly, Adel, I think it comes through because the few times I've had the pleasure of being with your team, the fun and the way they've progressed together as a team from some of the early exercises, it's lovely. It's really nice to see, and they're a nice bunch. They're a very different bunch, but if you can laugh together, you can learn together, and you can live together, and it's a great mix there. So I've loved it. Now, talking about laughing and stuff, how do you relax? What do you do when you're not focusing and you're not on the magic picture pad?
In the daily, you know?
Anything.
What
gives you?
I run every day. And this is the time where I have time to sit with myself. So even if the television on, or I run indoor because I like to have a consistent conditions all the time. So if I put my running under the weather condition, it will be not so constant. But I have this isolated condition to do my running every day. And this is the time where I review everything. And sometimes I don't see, sometimes I don't hear any of the music around or something. And it gives me a very good time to sit with myself. And that's what I like.
And is there anything, like I talk to people, and now that you've told me that your eyesight's starting to go, that list will get longer, I promise you. And talking about lists, have you got any like bucket list, any things that you would love to do that would surprise people?
Well, we have always, and I was just explaining yesterday to my manager that we work 2 steps ahead from anybody else, and that's a challenge we put to ourselves. Like when Barcelona said that to themselves, and they said we want to have 60% ball positioning in all our matches, and no matter what, we will control this. It's not about it comes before winning, if you imagine. So we put the same condition. with our work. And I said, we will not work on today's job, but we will work 2-3 steps ahead of everybody. And you know what? It's very difficult in the beginning, but it will come natural and it becomes very funny in the future. So we, as you know, we were just preparing for this podcast 2 months back.
Yep.
And we were, before even the industry got to know that we will have a tool, how can we get access to the industry key people or the employees, key heroes or stuff?
Yep.
We were ready with the plan, messages and stuff. We're ready for the right moment, the right training. We put all the efforts to make it happen. So we brought the equipment, the training, the coaching, and we started to build our plan, calendar, even internally. And we put all this together. Usually, when you go into the next topic on your bucket list, you put everything. You don't keep things in your pockets, saves. You put every idea, every power, every resources behind it.
Yeah.
Make it not only successful, but make it great.
Yeah.
Because when you start do it, you will have a hiccup in the way. And it maybe will come to the normal level again. But if all the conditions comes in your favor, you will have a great next successful list on your pocket.
No, that's good. And also the fact that now, like you said about the pre-planning and the focus on what you're going to do now internally, it also endorses the other issue, which is making sure you know the business. And it's great to hear that you and your team you've already spent time, and I was happy to give the information on the master operating plan. You know about the cargo handling manual. You know the basic processes of the supply chain. And now you're going to do a focused tour of the processes so that all of your team can visualize and see exactly what it is and how it works in the real world on the floor amongst the colleagues. So when you're talking to them and when they're talking to them, they've got a much, much closer understanding and appreciation.
I think if we go to the history of this thing, I think many departments in this company suffered from the old company system, where we have every department lives in their own villas, like they were living in their own silos. Every department believed they are a company by their own. They were putting isolated objectives that they never connected together in the old system. Many departments had nothing to do with the work on the ground, or they put things in the aircraft and fly away. Many departments, I can tell you, marketing is one of them. I just don't want to mention the others. And this created kind of disconnection between the objectives of the company, and definitely they don't see where the country itself is going, and between what they wanted to achieve their own level. Actually, the step of bringing the whole company in under one roof, in a way, I know the still fields are isolated in a way, but the whole company in one roof, discussing the weekly meeting reviews, the business plans, what's coming up, and forming many committees to tackle different projects level. And we started to talk to finance face to face, started to talk legal face to face, and I saw people here was working for 8 years, and they cannot put name and picture together. So you know that there is a person in finance, his name is X, and maybe you met him somewhere when we were parked your cars, but you never knew that this is
the same person.
I saw this up when we came here. So this was part. I had the challenge to break this shell around the marketing, makes marketing more involved in the business.
Yep.
And using, of course, thank you for your time and support to give the coaching to the team, but also start to set with the air cargo team. Start to meet, starting from Teddy all the way down to the product managers, and get their real next level product to launch and a project to have, and every exhibition they are think to participate in, and what are their problems with their customers. They want to build loyalty programs with them, rewards their programs achieve and stuff. So being involved in those all 360 dimensions around every department allow us to penetrate and go thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we have done yet.
Yeah, no,
Still
of course not.
a
Yeah.
long way to go. I know the next level is to go on the ground, see operations happening.
Yep.
But
And that's really, really crucial.
and we're not there to disturb the business or to show like we are tourists coming to criticize stuff. But we really needs to have a good understanding, awareness, what's going on.
Yep.
And we go there to see and support and recognize.
Exactly, recognise and appreciation. And at the end of the day, that's something that means an awful lot to people.
Yeah.
And if it's coming from support services and they've got a genuine desire and interest in the business, which is the core business, that makes such a big impact.
Of course.
It's fantastic. Now, another thing, I know some of the things we've spoken about and ideas and stuff, you genuinely don't seem to have a fear. You're happy to try anything.
Generally, yes. I sometimes enjoy try new things.
Yeah.
Especially, but this, I mean, I think this is nature by anybody. Some of course, there are extremes or something, but if you're confident about your team,
Yep.
and how loyal they are,
Yep.
and they will never let you down, and that allows you to see a new opportunity or new idea, and you immediately modify this to work for your plan, get the management support, and you know that your team will not let you down. I'm so lucky that I have my team as brave as me. Some of them are even more. I have Tariq, for instance. Tariq is a really person who is fearless.
Yeah.
He can try anything.
He's got a great personality.
Yeah. He's strong. He's solid.
Yeah.
He's learning.
Yeah.
He's of course getting experience. Experience level is getting higher, especially that we are not doing the same thing on the same way for a long time. We always change, jump to next level. And Tariq is picking up. He's good in technology. He's good in understanding. He's good in managing. He's good in looking to different aspects of the business. So I'm lucky having Tariq, Ahmed, Rajab, Naif, the old gentleman. He's the older in the team, but he's doing this as the spirit of the youngest one. He is passionate about doing the events management.
Yeah.
Look to our events. He surprised me every event.
Yeah, and he's also got a great sense of humour. Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. It's really good to see. Now, if I was to meet your wife and you weren't there, and I said to her, "What would you like to change?"
I think you will ask her. She had a long list.
What do you think? She's a long list. What do you think she'd say? Seriously.
Well, my wife is different. My wife is German, so she's the perfectionist type. So even if you put few pounds or kilos, she will scream. She will start not to feel annoyed. She likes to see me doing the best always. So she is happy if she sees me constantly doing my running up. I don't stop in the middle. But she likes my creativity, the way every time I put things, especially, with no stereotyping, but German likes to stay in the plan, on plan for a longer period of time, and you come with that. So she wants me to slow up a little, the change talent I wanted to put on our lives all the time. She wants to, keep constant for a longer period. That's what she would ask about. She will ask if I give more time to Layla, of course, because she lives there with Layla in Berlin, and she would like me to go more often. But at least she brings this bridge up. She brings me with Layla every day for enough time on video or on a call. So she makes sure that Layla knows that I'm following up, not only I'm asking. So
fantastic. And now, just again on the same sort of subject, being you, and I know how you love your fashion, the shoes you're wearing today. Now, why are you so focused on that brand? And you love branding, so.
Yeah, I love branding when the designer of this brand knows my expectations, or even he's ahead of me. He puts me on the next dimension. And sometimes Hugo Boss comes with this. Sometimes Tag comes with this. Sometimes Rolex, or if I'm saying the watches, comes with this. They look to the new area that I want it to be, and the designer, be ahead of me, makes this ground ready for my next move. That's what I like about the brand, and I'm getting inspired of this, putting our new brand on the mixer and bring it to life.
So even as old as I am, I'm thinking of getting a pair of those trainers now after seeing them, and both Sallam's enjoying them. So you both recognised it. Yeah, a couple of trendy 40-year-olds. Right, now, music. What's the music that makes you want to get up whenever you hear it and just be just somewhere else?
Being a flamenco guitar player.
You are?
Yeah.
You're joking?
Yeah. So I like the flamenco.
Seriously?
Yes.
And you actually play it as well?
Yes. When you come to me, I will show you my 2 guitars, and we can do this.
My God! I said I'd love to listen to that.
So the flamenco music is.
Because I lived in Spain for 7 years. Yeah. So
this is always. By the way, my stereotyping about Spain is the creativity place. People are there. If you look to the creativity, where are the creative people in fashion, in music, in I would say different brands, even in jewelries or something. This is Spain, is this place, huh?
Well, Zara.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Or look at the buildings. I've been to Barcelona or Madrid.
Yeah.
You will see Gaudi. And
Yeah.
that's crazy. The church over there. How it's beautiful. How did he considered to build up this church for 100 years, and after the 100 years, it will be the landmark of the.
Still not finished.
Yeah, of course. What kind of a story you need to put in one brand or something?
And everybody has to go there, has to see it, has to climb up to the top.
They are very good in creativity and brand.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. Right, now we're coming to the end. Okay, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think the concept that you're going to create and have Farhead driving, plus with your colleagues, I think it's going to be a huge success. And the only thing I would end the message is make sure the people who are actually at the front line get recognised, because sometimes companies, they give awards and recognition, and it's very, very seldom the guys at the rough end or the bad end of the stick. Make sure you focus on them. Make sure they're appreciated, okay?
I promise.
And make them feel very,
this is my
very,
promise.
very special. Make them feel special, okay?
This is my promise, inshallah.
That's all I would ask. Now, I said that I would come up with a title for a book or a biography. That gives me a bit of fun. So whilst I'm listening to you, I try and come up with something. So your book title, which I would like, is Running to Succeed. I don't see, I don't hear, but I have no fear.
Oh,
so that's what the title will be, and it's a real pleasure. Great to get to know
some
you.
Pressure on me.
But you're full of energy, and seeing the way you're interacting and the way the team is responding. Honestly, it's really nice every time I've had the chance to spend time with them. So I wish you great success, and thank you so much for coming on board. Thank you.